What if a foul mood was not a cage you were trapped in, but simply a room you could choose to walk out of at any moment? The ancient Stoics mastered the mental tools to find the doorway, understanding that our inner state is not a sentence, but a choice. Join us on a journey to discover the keys that unlock this profound freedom. Quickly shift from bad moods. Mental Tools, Stoic Guide, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. Recognize the inner emotional weather. The mind is an inner sky, and moods are the weather that passes through it. The wise individual is not the one who can prevent the clouds from gathering, but the one who learns to be a skilled meteorologist of their own soul. We often awaken to find a dark cloud of irritability or a heavy fog of melancholy has settled over our consciousness, seemingly from nowhere. We do not know its origin, only its oppressive weight, which colors our entire perception of the day, making every task feel heavier, every interaction more draining, and every thought more negative. When we are unaware of this inner weather pattern, we become its helpless victim. We mistake the mood for reality itself, believing the world is bleak and irritating, rather than recognizing that we are simply viewing it through a temporary, cloudy lens. This passive acceptance allows the bad mood to linger, deepen, and dictate our actions, often holding us captive for hours or even entire days. The first transformative tool is the practice of conscious recognition. It is the simple but profound habit of turning your awareness inward and acknowledging the presence of the mood, not as you, but as something you are experiencing. The core Stoic insight here is that you are not your moods. You are the vast, unchanging sky in which the weather of moods occurs. By learning to observe this weather without identifying with it, you create the first crucial separation between your true self and the transient emotional state. This act of recognition is like turning on a light in a dark room. The darkness does not fight back. It simply yields to the light of your awareness. The actionable steps are gentle and immediate. First, practice a mood check-in several times a day. Pause for just 10 seconds, then ask yourself, what is the emotional weather inside me right now? Is it calm, stormy, foggy, or sunny? Second, give it a simple neutral label, like gloom or irritation. The goal is not to analyze, but simply to see. Third, silently say to yourself, I am aware of a feeling of gloom, rather than succumbing to the thought, I am gloomy. This practice immediately begins to break the spell of the bad mood, stopping it from operating unconsciously in the background. You will begin to feel a sense of distance and perspective, realizing that the mood is a temporary event, not a permanent part of your identity. This is the first essential step toward reclaiming your inner power. Your practice for this week is to set 3 silent alarms on your phone. When they go off, perform a 10-second mood check-in. This is the foundational skill upon which all other mental tools are built. Recognizing the weather is the first step. But how do we prevent it from turning into a full-blown storm? Our next lesson will teach you how to name the mood in order to tame it. If you are ready to become the master of your inner sky, support this channel by liking this video and subscribing for more Stoic guidance. Lesson 2. Name the mood to tame it. A vague and nameless anxiety is a ghost that haunts the corridors of the mind, its power derived entirely from its shapelessness. But to name it, to define its edges with a precise word, is to strip it of its supernatural terror and see it for what it is, a simple, manageable feeling. We often describe our bad moods with vague, all-encompassing terms like, I'm just in a funk, or I feel awful. This lack of specificity keeps the emotion as a murky, undefinable fog, making it impossible to address directly. It feels like trying to fight an enemy you cannot see, a battle you're destined to lose. This vague labeling perpetuates the mood's power over us. Because we have not clearly defined the problem, we cannot possibly formulate a solution. The feeling of being overwhelmed intensifies, and we remain stuck in a state of passive suffering, convinced that this funk is too big and amorphous to overcome. The transformative tool is the practice of precise emotional labeling. It is the art of moving beyond the generic bad mood and drilling down to identify the specific emotional flavor you are actually experiencing. Is it disappointment? Is it frustration? Is it loneliness? envy, or simple physical fatigue. The psychological principle here, deeply aligned with Stoic self-awareness, is that specificity leads to control. Naming an emotion with precision activates the more rational, logical parts of our brain, and in doing so, it calms the more reactive, emotional parts. It is the act of turning an overwhelming feeling into a definable problem. And a definable problem is a solvable problem. It is like a doctor diagnosing a specific illness rather than just saying the patient is sick. The diagnosis is the first and most critical step toward the cure. The actionable steps are simple and clarifying. First, after recognizing the presence of a bad mood, take a moment to ask yourself the diagnostic question. If I had to give this feeling a more specific name, what would it be? Second, do not be afraid to be nuanced. Is it frustration born of impatience or frustration born of feeling misunderstood? The more specific you can be, the better. Third, once you have the name, simply state it to yourself with calm acceptance. This feeling is disappointment. The moment you name the mood specifically, you will feel its power diminish. The vague fog will begin to dissipate, replaced by a clear understanding of what you are actually dealing with. This clarity brings immense relief and shifts you from a passive victim to an active problem solver. Your exercise for this week is to use a feeling wheel, which you can easily find online. The next time you feel bad, look at the wheel and find the word that most accurately describes your inner state. This will build your emotional vocabulary and precision. Naming the mood gives us clarity, but in the immediate moment, we still need to stop it from spiraling out of control. Our next lesson will introduce the essential Stoic tool for creating a crucial buffer of space. What mood do you find yourself in most often? Share your reflection in the comments below. Lesson 3. Create space with Stoic pause. Between the first tremor of a bad mood and our surrender to it, there exists a space. This space may be fleeting, but within it lies our entire universe of freedom and power. The Stoic pause is the sacred habit of intentionally widening that space, turning a split-second impulse into a sanctuary of conscious choice. We are often swept away by our moods because we allow no time between feeling and being. The wave of irritation rises and we instantly become irritable. The fog of melancholy rolls in and we immediately identify with it, letting it guide our thoughts and actions. We operate on an emotional autopilot, unaware that we can choose to disengage. The problem is that this lack of space makes us slaves to our passing feelings. We react to the world through the distorted filter of our mood, making poor decisions, saying things we later regret, and reinforcing the very emotional state we wish to escape. We are a ship without a rudder, pushed and pulled by every changing current of our inner sea. The transformative solution is the deliberate, conscious practice of the Stoic pause. This is not an act of hesitation or uncertainty. It is a decisive action of self-control. It is the choice to create a momentary buffer between the emotional stimulus and your cognitive response, a sacred ceasefire in the inner battle. The core idea is that this pause interrupts the momentum of the mood. A bad mood is like a runaway train. It gains power through unchecked motion. The pause is the act of pulling the emergency brake. It stops the spiral, even for just a moment. And in that moment, it gives your rational mind, the calm captain of the ship, a chance to come to the helm and assess the situation clearly. The actionable steps to create this space are physical and grounding. First, the moment you recognize and name a bad mood, take one slow, deliberate breath. Focus entirely on the physical sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. Second, consciously relax a part of your body where you hold tension, like your jaw or your shoulders. This sends a signal of safety to your nervous system. Third, if possible, change your physical environment. Stand up, walk to a different room, or look out a window. This physical shift helps create a mental shift. The benefits are immediate and profound. You will stop the automatic downward spiral. You will create the mental clarity needed to implement the next tools. You will affirm your own power, reminding yourself that you are the master of your mind, not its servant. This small act of defiance against the mood is a great victory for the soul. Your practice for this week is to link the act of recognition with the act of pausing. Every time you do your mood check-in and notice a negative feeling, immediately follow it with one conscious, deep breath. Forge this link until it becomes an automatic and unbreakable habit. This pause creates a sanctuary of calm. But what should we do with our thoughts within this space? Our next lesson will teach you how to actively reset your thinking using rational frames. If you are ready to master the pause, let us know by liking this video. Lesson 4. Reset thoughts using rational frames. A bad mood is a lens that darkens and distorts the world, making every event seem more threatening and every memory more painful. The tool of the rational frame is like a master optician's kit, allowing us to consciously remove that distorting lens and replace it with one of clarity, objectivity, and truth. Once we have paused, we often find our minds are still swirling with the negative thoughts that accompany the bad mood. This day is ruined. Nothing ever works out for me. I can't handle this. We allow these thoughts to loop unchecked, not realizing they are the symptoms of the mood, not objective reality. The problem is that these thoughts are the very fuel that sustains the bad mood. A mood cannot survive for long without a narrative to feed it. By allowing these automatic negative thoughts to dominate our thinking, we are actively pouring gasoline on the fire of our own emotional discomfort. The transformative solution is the Stoic practice of applying rational frames. This is the mental discipline of examining your negative thoughts, recognizing their irrationality, and consciously framing the situation in a more objective and empowering way. It is a mental reset, a deliberate shift in perspective. The core idea is that our moods are shaped by our judgments, not by external events. By changing the judgment, we can change the mood. The Stoics used several powerful frames to achieve this. One is the view from above, where you imagine floating up and seeing your situation from a great height, noticing how small it is in the grand scheme of things. Another is negative visualization, where you consider how much worse things could be, which cultivates gratitude for your present reality. A third is to simply ask, is this thought helping me or harming me? The actionable steps require you to become an active participant in your thinking. First, during your pause, identify the main negative thought that is looping in your mind. Second, choose a rational frame to apply. Let's use the view from above. Literally visualize yourself floating upwards, seeing your room, your city, your country, the planet. From this vast perspective, look down upon your problem. Third, ask yourself from this vantage point, in the context of my entire life, how much will this moment truly matter in a week, a year, 10 years? The benefit of this practice is that it shatters the distorted magnification of the bad mood. It introduces perspective, objectivity, and calm. It reminds you that your current feeling, no matter how intense, is temporary and small in the vast tapestry of your existence. It replaces emotional reasoning with rational clarity. Your practice for this week is to choose one rational frame, like the view from above, and apply it every time you find yourself stuck in a negative thought loop. Write the name of the frame on a piece of paper and keep it in your pocket as a physical reminder of your new mental tool. We have now reset our thoughts. The next step is to ground ourselves in the reality of the present moment. Our next lesson will teach you how to anchor yourself in what you can control right now. If this concept of rational frames has opened up a new perspective for you, please subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue expanding your mental toolkit. Lesson 5. Anchor yourself in present control. The mind caught in a bad mood is a time traveler, endlessly journeying to a past it cannot change or a future it cannot predict. The key to breaking this cycle is to anchor the mind firmly in the only time that truly exists and the only place where we have power, the present moment. After pausing and reframing our thoughts, the mind can still feel adrift. It is tempted by the familiar currents of rumination about yesterday's mistakes or anxiety about tomorrow's challenges. These mental voyages into the uncontrollable past and future are the lifeblood of a lingering bad mood, keeping us trapped in a state of powerless agitation. The problem is that this mental time travel disconnects us from our own agency. When our mind is in the past or future, It is completely divorced from what we can actually do, right here, right now. This reinforces a feeling of helplessness, which is a key ingredient in almost every negative mood state. The transformative tool is the Stoic practice of anchoring in present control. This involves deliberately pulling your attention out of the abstract world of past regrets and future worries and focusing it intensely on the concrete reality of the present moment and the small actions that are within your immediate power. The core Stoic principle here is the celebrated dichotomy of control. This is the wisdom of discerning between what is within our power and what is not. The past and the future are not in our power, but our actions in this very second are. By focusing our entire mental energy on a simple, controllable, present moment task, we sever the mood's connection to its fuel source of powerlessness. Imagine your mind is a wild horse, galloping frantically across the plains of time. This practice is the act of gently taking the reins and guiding the horse to a small, calm patch of grass, instructing it to focus only on the single blade it is eating right now. The actionable steps are about engaging your senses and taking a micro-action. First, choose a single physical object in your immediate vicinity. Focus all your attention on it. Notice its color, its texture, its shape. Describe it to yourself in minute detail. This yanks your mind into the present. Second, ask yourself the anchoring question. What is one small, useful thing I can do in the next 60 seconds? Third, do that one thing with your full attention, whether it's taking a sip of water, stretching your arms, tidying one corner of your desk, or sending a one-sentence email. The benefit is an immediate return to a state of agency. By engaging in a controllable present moment action, you remind yourself that you are not helpless. You break the spell of rumination and anxiety. This small act of control sends a powerful signal to your brain that you are safe and in command, which begins to chemically counteract the feelings of the bad mood. Your practice for this week is to create a present moment anchor list, the 5 simple 60-second actions you can take anytime. Things like make my bed, wash a dish, or write down one thing I'm grateful for. The next time you feel adrift, consult your list and take one action immediately. Anchoring in the present gives us our power back. But where should we point that power? Our next lesson will explore how to redirect your energy toward meaningful action, completing the shift out of the bad mood. Let us know in the comments one item from your anchor list to inspire others. Lesson 6. Redirect energy toward meaningful action. A bad mood is a stagnant pool of energy, murky and lifeless. To transform it, we must not try to eliminate the energy, but to carve a channel for it, redirecting it from the swamp of rumination into the powerful river of meaningful, purposeful action. After we have recognized, named, paused, reframed, and anchored, we arrive at a critical choice point. We have created a space of calm clarity, but we are still left with the residual energy of the mood. It is a nervous, agitated energy that, if left idle, can easily pull us back into the negative state. The problem is inaction. To sit passively with this leftover energy is to invite the bad mood to return. The mind abhors a vacuum, and if we do not give it a positive, constructive task, it will inevitably revert to its old, familiar habit of negative brooding. We feel better, but we haven't solidified the shift with decisive action. The transformative tool is the deliberate redirection of your emotional and mental energy toward a meaningful action. This is the final and most powerful step in the mood-shifting process. It is about taking the energy that was fueling the funk and consciously using it to do something that aligns with your values and goals. The core Stoic idea is that we find our greatest peace and fulfillment not in passive feeling, but in virtuous action. Action is the antidote to despair. The Stoics believed that the purpose of philosophy was to guide us toward living a good life, and a good life is built upon a foundation of good actions. By channeling our energy into a task, no matter how small, that we deem worthwhile, we replace the feeling of helplessness with a feeling of purpose. Imagine you are a blacksmith who is given a piece of hot, misshapen iron, the energy of your bad mood. You can let it sit there and uselessly cool, or you can place it on the anvil and with deliberate strikes of your hammer, forge it into something useful and strong. The actionable steps are about choosing the right kind of action. First, ask yourself, what is a small action I can take right now that would be helpful to my future self or to someone else? Second, choose an action that requires some physical or mental engagement. This could be a 5-minute workout, planning your healthy meals for the next day, reading a challenging chapter of a book, or writing a thank you note to a friend. Third, engage in this action with your full focus, dedicating the energy you feel to its successful completion. The benefit is a complete transformation of your state. You will not only have shifted out of the bad mood, but you will have used its energy to create positive value in your life. This generates a profound sense of accomplishment and self-respect, which is the complete opposite of the feelings that sustain a bad mood. You will have turned poison into medicine. Your call to action is to create a meaningful action menu. List 5 to 10 simple but valuable actions you can take in under 15 minutes. The next time you successfully shift out of a bad mood, complete the process by choosing one item from your menu and doing it immediately. These tools are powerful for shifting moods in the moment. But how do we build a mind that is less susceptible to them in the first place? Our final lesson will explore how to build long-term mood immunity. If you found this process helpful, please share this video with someone who might need these tools. Lesson 7. Build mood immunity through practice. The body of a seasoned athlete does not become strong on the day of competition, but through the accumulated effort of thousands of small, consistent training sessions. In the same way, a mind that is resilient to bad moods, a mind with mood immunity, is not an accident of birth, but the result of deliberate daily practice. It is one thing to have a set of emergency tools to pull yourself out of a bad mood. It is another thing entirely to build a mind that is fundamentally less prone to falling into them in the first place. Many people learn coping mechanisms, but fail to do the foundational work that makes those mechanisms less necessary over time. The problem is that without consistent practice, our default mental state will remain vulnerable. We will be forever reactive, waiting for the next mood to strike, so we can use our tools, rather than proactively creating a mind where negative moods struggle to find fertile ground. We remain firefighters, rather than becoming architects of a fireproof inner home. The final transformative solution is the commitment to building long-term mood immunity through regular, proactive practice of these Stoic principles. It is about shifting from a reactive mindset to a proactive one, focusing on prevention as much as cure. The core idea is that resilience is a skill, and like any skill, it is built through repetition. By consistently practicing these mental tools, even on days when you feel good, you are strengthening the neural pathways of calm, reason, and perspective. You are training your mind so that its automatic default response to a challenge is a calm and rational one. This is the essence of moving from simply knowing the philosophy to truly living it. Think of it as emotional vaccination. Each time you proactively practice a rational frame or an anchoring exercise, you are giving your mind a small, controlled dose of the virus of adversity, allowing it to build the antibodies of wisdom and resilience so it is prepared for a real-world exposure. The actionable steps are about integrating these tools into your daily life. First, schedule a 5-minute mental practice session into your calendar every single day. During this time, you might practice the view from above on a minor worry, or you might read a passage from a Stoic text and reflect on how to apply it. Second, practice gratitude. Spend 1 minute each day writing down 3 specific things you are grateful for. This trains your brain to scan for the positive, which is a powerful antidote to negative moods. Third, embrace voluntary discomfort. Once a week, do something that is slightly difficult or uncomfortable, like taking a cold shower or skipping a dessert. This builds the mental muscle of discipline and self-control. The benefit of this lifelong practice is the development of an unshakable inner core. Your peace of mind will become less dependent on external circumstances. While bad moods may still occasionally visit, they will be less frequent, less intense, and much shorter in duration. you will have built a fortress of tranquility within your own soul. Your final call to action is a commitment. Commit today not just to using these tools when you feel bad, but to practicing them as a daily discipline to cultivate a life of enduring strength and serenity. This is the true path of the Stoic practitioner. You now possess the complete toolkit to both shift out of bad moods and build a more resilient mind. Which of these 7 lessons resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insight helps our entire community grow. We have explored a complete Stoic toolkit for mastering our inner state. By learning to recognize, name, and pause, we create space. By reframing our thoughts, anchoring in the present, and taking meaningful action, we reclaim our power. This is the path to building a truly unshakable mind. Thank you for investing this time in your own mental fortitude. If you found value in this guide, please like, comment with your own insights, and subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue your journey toward a life of fearless confidence and inner peace.